I frantically typed the message, hoping that someone out there would receive it and send help. The banging on the security room door continued, echoing through the small space and making my heart race. The voices outside were still chanting, their eerie repetition of, "Open the door," sending shivers down my spine. As I waited for a response, my mind raced with thoughts of what could be happening in the hospital. The blood tears of Dr. Purge, the disturbing message formed by the arranged corpses, and the desperate pleas on the radio painted a picture of horror that I couldn't comprehend. My mother's voice on the radio, seemingly part of this nightmare, added another layer of dread. Suddenly, the computer screen flickered and a message appeared. Emergency Services Dispatch. Please provide details of your location and the nature of the threat. Relief washed over me as I quickly typed back my location, the situation in the hospital, and the urgency of the request for help. The banging on the door intensified, and the voices outside grew louder. It was as if the unseen threat was closing in, aware of my attempt to seek assistance. As I awaited a response, I heard a soft whisper, barely audible over the chaos outside. "Open the door, my child. For your mother's sake." My heart sank as I recognized the voice. It was unmistakably my mother's voice, but it carried an otherworldly, sinister undertone. Panic surged through me, and I backed away from the door, trying to make sense of the surreal situation. Just then, a message popped up on the computer screen. Emergency Services Dispatch. Stay calm. Help is on the way. Secure yourself and wait for further instructions. Relief and hope filled me momentarily, but the ominous chanting outside persisted. I decided to trust the dispatch's instructions and barricaded the door with a chair and whatever else I could find in the security room. The pounding on the door continued, but the barricade held for now. I stared at the computer screen, waiting for additional guidance. The radio continued to broadcast unsettling messages from different hospital staff, each reporting similar horrors. It became apparent that whatever was happening had spread across multiple medical facilities in the area. The lights flickered, casting eerie shadows in the room. The atmosphere grew tense, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something malevolent was closing in. As I waited, I glanced at the walkie-talkie on the table, contemplating whether I should try to communicate with the dispatch directly. Before I could make a decision, a new message appeared on the computer screen. Evacuation in progress. Stay in your current location. Emergency personnel en route. Relief washed over me once again, and I held on to the hope that help was indeed on the way. I continued monitoring the messages, hoping for updates on the evacuation process and guidance on how to stay safe. As time passed, the banging on the door gradually subsided, replaced by an unsettling silence. The flickering lights added to the sense of unease in the room. The dispatch continued to reassure that help was coming, but the cryptic messages from my mother's voice on the radio lingered in the back of my mind. Suddenly, the computer screen displayed a new message. Evacuation halted. Await further instructions. Do not attempt to leave your secure location. Confusion and anxiety surged within me. Why had the evacuation been halted? What new threat had emerged? I stared at the screen, desperately seeking answers. The walkie-talkie crackled to life, and the voice of Dr. Greer, now trembling more than ever, came through. They're watching us. We can't escape. They know every move we make. We're trapped. Fear gripped me once again as the reality of the situation sank in. The unseen threat, the unsettling messages, and the halted evacuation created an atmosphere of despair. My thoughts turned to my mother, wondering if she was still part of this incomprehensible nightmare or if she had become something else entirely. As I awaited further instructions, the hospital remained shrouded in an ominous silence, broken only by the occasional whispers and distant echoes of laughter. The emergency personnel, once a beacon of hope, now seemed like a distant promise, leaving me to grapple with the unfolding horrors within the walls of the once safe medical facility.